Hey everyone, it's Thunderbob, and tonight I am demoing my new monitor, the G34WQC. I did a video on this, but the video was actually, the game footage was shadow play, and I wanted to try to do another video where I got some off monitor footage. This is going off of a GoPro recording at like 2.7K at about 60 frames per second. So it's not quite matching monitor refresh rate, but it gives you a pretty good approximation of what it looks like. I am a little bit limited by the stand I have, so it's not quite perfect. I apologize for that. It's about as good as I could get it. And this is demonstrating first off Counter-Strike running at close to 200 frames per second. Now the camera I'm using is 60 frames per second, so it is a little limited. But you know, there's very little ghosting, smearing, banding, that kind of thing. For the refresh rate here, it's really smooth. Feels really good in actual while you're playing it. Overall, I'm really liking this monitor for really fast-paced shooting games like this. I can do a full spin there, and you know, you don't even notice much kind of the ghosting effect that you can sometimes get there. This is a 3440 by 1440 monitor, running at 144 hertz. It runs really beautifully. If I can, you know, switch guns, I can get my knife out, and just the movement is really smooth on this. Probably the best, you know, this is an older game. This is the game I can run that gets the highest frames per second. I actually have a pretty nice system other than my video card right now. I'm running a 1070 Rogue Strix that's pretty overclocked, but I am desperately trying to get a 3080. I've tried to order it about a dozen times since it released, and I've been unsuccessful every time. Right now the 1070 can run this game at about 200 frames per second. I'm also getting a demo of a minute or so of the Avengers game and some No Man's Sky to show some kind of graphically superior games that don't quite get the same frame rate. So, you know, the demo there is not quite the frames, but more fun. So here's the Avengers, and I got the angle a little bit better on this shot. There's a little bit of glare though, I think, but this kind of shows off the lighting and how bright the monitor can be, the smoothness. I haven't played a lot of the Avengers yet. I want to wait till I get my new video card. It runs okay. I think I'm getting like 50 frames per second right now, but not really showing off the high refresh rate of this monitor, the high possibility. But again, even at 50 frames per second, you know, it's pretty smooth. Not a lot of ghosting. I'm going to also show some tests at the end of this video that demonstrate, you know, the lack of the pixels, the uniformity, and that sort of thing. So we'll get into that. But I have not really used the built-in speakers. I found them to be really weak the first time I tried them, so I haven't even bothered including them in the video. This is actually audio directly from my my shadow play recording that I cut into the video. So do forgive that. But I wanted to have the in-game audio sync up better. And now here's No Man's Sky. This is one that I get a little bit better frames than the Avengers. I get about 80 to 120, depending on the planet and the density and that sort of thing. But this is a really good game that can show off like the HDR and you know, the really bright color. Some of these planets you reach are just blinding. I had trouble finding a planet that really demoed it as well as the other night. But I'm going to travel just between a few planets and just demo some of the different lighting environments, how space looks, the speed of everything. This is just flying around a planet. I am using a controller here, which I'm not used to. Normally I play this mouse and keyboard, so I'm getting used to the controls for flying with the controller. Let's go into space. I love that you can just be on a planet and then jump in your ship and fly to another planet, no loading. You know, there's like a 30-second time while you're flying through space, sometimes a little longer depending on the distance, but you literally can go from one planet, leave the atmosphere, fly to the other atmosphere, land, get out of your ship, and experience that other planet. It's just a really cool experience. If you haven't played this, you should give it a try. They just dropped a patch that added a whole lot, including the new cloud cover that kind of syncs up with what you see from the ground. It's a really cool effect. Here's another planet. The lighting's a little bit brighter when I'm coming in here. I found a really snowy planet, but I have trouble locating it again. That was but the HDR is set to 400 on the monitor in the game. It really was pretty spectacular, and I think I actually lowered the brightness a little bit because it was so bright. It was practically blinding. So it was a really cool effect, but at the same time, it was just a little too much. I'm going to go to another planet. I'm kind of looking for something a little brighter. Not having a lot of luck this evening. That's the problem, is there's literally trillions of planets, and sometimes you find really cool ones, and sometimes they are a little drab and boring. Check another one out here. I am really looking forward to getting that 3080 for this game in particular, both for VR and for non-VR, because this is one that you know, varies. It can get as low as like 50 on some planets, and it can get up to about 100 on others. And I really want to. Oh, that lighting's cool. I really want to be able to play this at the highest settings, the highest resolution, and still get a good refresh rate. Here I'm entering kind of a storm. Here I'm entering the planet layer, getting out of the atmosphere. It's a really, really mountainous planet. They actually added a lot more height and you know, more topography to the game in this most recent patch. These mountains are bigger than anything I've ever actually seen in the game before. This is pretty new to me. You know, like when you first step out of the ship, that HDR kind of kicks in for like that initial brightness. This is only HDR 400 on the monitor, but it's reasonably bright. You know, I've never really used a really good HDR monitor, so I have trouble kind of comparing it. Maybe you guys can tell me if this is you know, a decent experience or not. But yeah, this is a really graphical powerhouse, I feel like, just because of the size and scale and everything. It's not like the most graphically demanding, amazing game in the world, but I really like the look of it, the variety that you come across. And every patch they add more and more to the game. Just the scale, like I could walk from one end of this planet to the other and it would probably take me 15 or 20 hours to do so. And that's one of a trillion planets. It's pretty incredible scale of the game. And again, you know, moving the camera around my character, I don't experience any tearing, don't experience any, you know, shadowing or ghosting of the image. It's all really clear. Yeah, this is a really cool game. Really good showcase for the monitor, I feel. Look how high this mountain is. These were never this high before. It's really cool. Literally, it's gonna take me like 60 seconds to fall off this mountain. Alright, so enough of games. Okay, enough games. Let's run some tests. So this isn't perfect. Obviously, you're maybe not close enough to get some of the finer details, but all the lines are really clear. This is a test for dead pixels in the black range. You know, don't see any here. It's all really clear. You will see there is some light bleed in the top left. It's only really noticeable when I turn all my lights off and I've got the brightness up really high. No dead pixels, white, red. I go through all the colors here. It's all pretty clear. Again, that left corner has a little bit of like banding or some light bleed. I'm not 100% on it. But other than that, I'm really impressed with the picture. That's the only complaint I kind of have here. So here's the uniformity, which is overall good, even in 3 gradients available here. It's, you know, from left to right, it's the same. I can't see any differences. From the camera, it's a little harder to tell, but just looking at it, I couldn't distinguish any difference on the picture. And then here is color distances, and I'm just going to move these sliders around a bit. I didn't see anything that really stood out as a problem. Colors all seem pretty good. I haven't really dug into the NVIDIA settings to adjust my colors at all. They'll probably do that eventually, but the default color space is pretty good. I don't have any complaints with it. Though I'm not, a graphical editor. If you're going to be using this for, detailed graphical things, if you're an artist or something, maybe you need to put in a little bit more money, but for gaming and just for general use, it's pretty great. And here's the gradient. Here's where I ran into a little bit of issue, I think, with the bleeding in the top left. This should be kind of like a straight line. There shouldn't be a lot of distinguishable from column to column, and it's not perfect. This is the only time I've really noticed it, is specifically in this test in game. It's not very noticeable, but you can see, slight difference if you look across the vertical lines here. Not horrible, but not perfect. This is probably not legible at all to you, but this is just the text clarity, and even if I change the size of it, it all remains very legible and readable. Even changing between white and black, it's still very readable. I think that's quite good on this monitor. And then this actually looks a lot worse on the camera than it does in practice. I'm not sure if it's picking up something, but the kind of the banding around each of these orbs is not visible at all when looking straight onto the monitor. I'm not sure if maybe it's the angle or something, but it looks much better directly onto the screen. Other than there's like a little bit of that bleed in the top left, like I said, but overall it's quite good. And then here is the gamma settings, and playing with this, the EIZO wording disappears at about gamma 2.3, but I have gamma set to 3 in the OSD, so I'm not 100% on if this is an issue with the OSD setting or what, but something to think about. So overall, I'm really impressed with the monitor. The resolution, the refresh rate is way higher than my old monitor. The build quality is good. There's a large number of inputs. There is, an interesting, this control nub right here. This is how you control the OSD. It's really interesting. It's like a little joystick almost. The picture's good. Very few drawbacks. This is a little weird here. There's this kind of this color spot that comes through. When the monitor goes to sleep, it kind of flashes. I guess that is like in place of a power button. Let me know if no one else has that and it's something unique to mine. It seems a little odd, but yeah, that's there. But other than that, and the slight amount of light bleed, I am really pleased with the monitor. This is a huge upgrade over my old one. And some people have reported some flickering. The only time I've encountered that is actually when running DaVinci Resolve, and I was able to resolve it by changing G-Sync to run only in full screen applications, not in windowed applications. And I'm not sure if that's an issue specifically with this monitor. Reading online, this is something that a number of people have had problems with, not just with this monitor. It seems like the windowed mode is maybe not the optimal mode. Leaving it full screen may be your best option, like I've demonstrated here. So again, if you enjoyed this video, check out some of my other videos, think about subscribing, and thank you for watching.